The Plymouth County real estate market continued to improve in 2013. Welcome to the Register's Report. My name is John Buckley. I'm the Register of Deeds of Plymouth County, and this show is about Plymouth County real estate. I'll be talking about the number of sales that happened over the past year, also mentioning what happened in December, where the mortgage market was in Plymouth County, and what happened with foreclosure deeds and foreclosure notices. The Registry of Deeds is where all your documents relative to real estate are recorded. The documents are recorded at the registry. They're then scanned in so that they can be available on site, on your computer rather. They then are indexed, microfilmed, and then mailed back to the public on the recorded land side. And we have millions and millions of documents. The Registry of Deeds has offices in Plymouth, 50 Aubrey Street, which is the main office, a satellite office in Rockland on Hingham Street, and a satellite office in Brockton on West Elm Street. So let's get to the numbers of the Plymouth County real estate market in 2013, particularly in December. You'll see a chart that comes up across the screen about sales of property for the year. In December, the number of sales were 729 deeds compared to 711 in November. 3% lower than the number of December 2012. However, year to date, the number of sales across Plymouth County for 2013 were up 6%. What that means is there was $300 million more in sales value than last year. As you look at the chart relative to deeds, you can see that it's a cyclical series of filings. Months are in the summer are higher than in the winter, and January and February are typically our lowest months, and we will certainly expect to see that. In our next show, we'll be reporting on January activity. We expect to see a drop. I'm also going to bring up an image of mortgages that were filed over the past year. In December, 1,448 mortgages were recorded. That was less than the 13 mortgages before, 46% lower overall from December of last year. And because of the rise in interest rates, we've seen a drop-off in mortgages for the last number of months. On the chart, you can clearly see that. You can see a larger number in December of last year, a bump up in July of this year, and then dropping off into December. What has also been positive to the real estate market has been a drop of foreclosure deeds. Foreclosure deeds, as you can see in the chart before you, are down 51% from last year at this time. There were only 29 foreclosure deeds recorded in December, and that is a significant assist to the real estate market because less people are losing their home by a foreclosure deed. Foreclosure notices, you'll see the chart pop up, and you can see that the number of notices are down significantly, 52% year to date, and that shows a very dramatic drop off the chart of foreclosure notices. You'll also see quickly come up a document that shows foreclosure deeds and notices by town for December. You can see from Abington through Whitman, it was a very low month for foreclosure deeds in orders and notices. And there's also an image that I thought I would show you on what's happened in the town of Plymouth over the last several years in terms of foreclosure issues. The numbers have dropped off significantly in Plymouth. Plymouth is a community that is usually the second highest in Plymouth County for foreclosure deeds and notices. You can see on this chart the number of foreclosure deeds dropped from 173 in 2010 down to 70 in 2013. Again, that's a healthy sign for the real estate market that less people are having difficulty by losing their homes. And in the orders of notice section that you see on the screen, you can see there were 334 orders of notice filed in Plymouth for 2010 and only 144 for 2013. The real estate market, we think, is on the mend, and we hope to see a gradual increase once again in 2014. My next segment will have a couple guests, some real estate experts to talk about how you can make your home ready for the spring market. Thank you very much.
This message brought to you by FEMA. Home fires occur most often in winter. Keep anything that can catch fire at least 3 feet from heating equipment. And never use an oven to heat your home. Stay in the kitchen when frying, grilling, or broiling food. Turn space heaters off when you leave the room or go to bed. Make sure all vents are clear of snow and ice to allow carbon monoxide to vent outside. Have your furnace, heating system, and chimneys serviced each year by a qualified professional. Learn more at www.usfa.fema.gov.
Welcome back to the Register's Report. My name is John Buckley. I'm the Register of Deeds of Plymouth County. In this segment, we always try to do something educational in nature. And although it's very cold outside, it's very warm in here. I have a couple of very good friends that are joining me today. Sharon McNamara of Boston Connect
Hi, John.
Real Estate, and Bob Gleason of Boston Connect Real
Hi, John.
Estate. Sharon and I have done a few shows along the way, and I've done some of her radio shows that she does on WATD. And Bob and I are old friends. His wife, Gail, worked with me at City Hall many years ago when I was in law school.
That's right, and she's still there.
So it's great to see you guys.
Nice to see you too.
Nice
Yeah.
to see you, John.
So we are in the month of January. In my previous segment, which I recognize you guys were coming in, I happened to talk about some of the 2013 numbers, and we did recognize that we're in a very slow season. January is a slower season than certainly as you get into the spring market. But I thought it would be a good opportunity for us to, with you real estate experts, to talk what people could be doing during the winter to make their home more saleable as you hit, March and April, as more people list their homes. People are a little more certain that the school year is ending up, and certainly that is a time of year that we see the most sales at the registry. So before I do that, though, I'd just like to have you introduce yourself to the public and tell them where you're located and all that, Sharon.
Well, my name is Sharon McNamara. As you said, I am the broker, owner, and founder of Boston Connect Real Estate. We're located in Pembroke, and it's nice because we're centrally located right on Route 139, so we're touching all the local towns, Hanover, Duxbury, Marshfield, easy to get to Situate, it's really nicely located, nice little hub. And we've been there about 3 years, went out on my own. We have about 28 agents now, all kinds of administrative staff. It's been wonderful. I was going to run some numbers for you too, for Plymouth County. I think we're number 24 in Plymouth County, which is great for a new company. So I'm really proud of all the agents that we have there.
Great. And one of your co-workers, one of your agents is Bob Gleason. Bob, do you want to talk a little about yourself?
Yeah, I'm Bob Gleason. I live in Kingston, and I started working with Sharon and the other agents at Boston Connect. It will be just about a year next month. And I have found that the people that are associated with Boston Connect are very professional, very helpful people. Sharon is a dynamite broker, and she is hands-on with everybody in the office all the time, and she's very progressive and forward-thinking in everything that she does. She's a very, very hard worker, and she cares very much about her agents and the community that she lives in, and what the agents do to help clients relocate or buy new homes or refinance or whatever it is that they come to see us for.
Great. So we don't get distracted. I know I was on one of your shows and was coming in to talk about the real estate numbers, and all we did was talk about a notable land record collection, the history of Plymouth County. Yeah. That I'll be mentioning a little bit at the end of the show. But let's talk about some things people can do to get their property ready for sale in the spring. We just had an incredible storm that people were locked in their houses for a weekend and a number of days, and people do start to think about what they're going to be doing as they start to move into late winter and early spring. So let's talk about some of those ideas.
Yeah, one of the things that I like, John, for people to know is that the spring market is it's a lot sooner than what they really recognize. I am a huge advocate of putting your house on the market during these months. Do you agree that a lot of people,
absolutely,
they just don't like it. They think the winter, especially during the holidays, but that's behind us. But right now is a really good time to put your house on the market just because a lot of relocation. The bigger companies in Boston that we're close to, they're doing all kinds of reorganization. So they're bringing in their CEOs and CFOs and everything. So I always tell people, don't be afraid and wait till the spring. Sometimes when you do wait until the spring, you're one of much inventory. That's when everybody else is thinking about it. I would say spring market really is March. That's when people really should be considering putting the house on the market. So that would be the first thing that I would say to people, would definitely think it's sooner than later.
So that really only leaves you a couple months to do some projects inside?
Right, and during this period of time where you really can't get outside very much other than just to shovel snow, it may give you a good time, period of time to start looking around your house. And if in fact you are planning on moving in a couple of months or during the summer, now is the perfect occasion to start looking through what the house looks like through your eyes, and then start to try to think about somebody coming into your house and seeing what they are going to be seeing. In other words, if they're opening up closet doors and if it's crowded in there, they're going to imagine that their closets are going to be the same way, so it's not that inviting. Same thing with paint throughout the house. If you need to have walls repainted throughout, perhaps use a neutral color, something that's pleasing to everyone rather than bold colors that might offend, maybe not offend somebody, but somebody that's going to come in and say, well, geez, now I have to repaint the kitchen or the bedrooms or what have you. Wash the windows, clean ceiling fans, walk into a room and perhaps when you walk in, look to your right and just let your eyes scan from the floor up to the ceiling and see what you're looking at, because that's what buyers are going to be looking at when they walk in. Wash your windows. Clean out your attic and your basement, and start thinking about things that you can do for curb appeal. Get some ideas, look through some magazines, landscaping magazines, if you need to replace any bushes or shrubs or trees that are out front, and maybe some of them that have been damaged over the winter. So those are a few of the things, and one of the things that I did, and I think is a good idea, because I did it, is I had a home energy audit done back in September, and it's really it's very well organized. Excuse me. The young fellow came in, looked at my house, made some recommendations on things that I could do, and through the state and through the utility companies, there's a fee that we all pay for that's on your electric bill now, and part of that fee goes to increasing the efficiency of everyone's house. So when they came to my house, they put in more insulation in my ceiling, in my attic. They weatherproofed the front door. They put in digital thermostats that I didn't have before. So I think if somebody is thinking about selling their house, at least that they know what the pluses are in a house too. And I think it's a good thing that you can be able to say to a potential buyer that you've had this done and the insulation is new in the attic. And so anyway, I think that's a good route to take.
That's great. What type of ideas would you have that would be cost effective? Something they could do inside the house over the winter?
Yeah, and one of the things that Bob was mentioning was, the distraction of different colors and everything. And one of the things, as he was talking, buyers are looking for what's wrong. They're not looking for what's right. And I think that that's part of their whole mindset with listening to media, oddly, about, negotiating and all of that. But when they do walk into a house and they see all these color changes and everything, maybe carpet repairs and things, they're escalating the price of that. So one of the big things I suggest to people is not so much the cosmetic aspect of it, but also even the mechanical aspect of it, is to have a home inspection beforehand. It's a really, really good idea. A lot of people think, why would I want to waste that money? I had one of my clients recently do it in Marshfield. It was one of the best investments she made. It was about $375. She hired somebody local. He went through her entire house. She was a single woman, so she didn't have that handyman around the house. She really leaned into me for referrals, so I referred a home inspector that I trusted and some of the things she needed to have done. She had people come over. He thought maybe there was some evidence of termites. Lo and behold, she had somebody come in and there were no termites. So having people that are referred to you is really important, because someone could take advantage of you, and you certainly don't want that. The evidence was there from a prior person, but he picked it up. And not even her home inspector had picked it up when she originally done it. But a home inspector will tell you little things and they'll tell you big things. If there are bigger items, then maybe you consider doing a home warranty with the sale of your house, and those are things you can talk to your agent about. But if there are little things that need to be repaired, a buyer is going to look at it and it's always $1,000. So it's, there's a hole in the wall. Well, that's $1,000 to fix. Well, we all know that you could probably get that repaired for $200.
Right.
So it really does save you. I mean, the $375 you might spend there, and it will help eliminate all those things, because again, the buyers are looking for what's wrong and not what's right.
Good. So Bob, give me an idea of something you've been involved with that when you were showing the house, you wish they had fixed it beforehand.
Well, actually, the house that I'm thinking about, they did fix it beforehand.
Okay.
It was a house that it was built in '62 with an addition on the second floor back in early 1990. But there's 4 people living in the house, so it has some wear and tear. So I just made a couple of suggestions about decluttering. Number 1, take away the things that are going to detract from the real value of a home. And they did some painting. They cleaned the bathrooms up a little bit. And they replaced carpeting. Carpeting going upstairs and on the second floor, just in the hallway. It wasn't a huge expense to do that, but I think it's going to pay off. Eventually, the house hasn't sold yet, but it's been on for about 80 days. And so it improved its looks immensely by doing something like that. I think that most people generally, if they're going to be hiring a professional real estate agent, they are generally going to listen to what that person is saying. Otherwise, they would just try to sell it on their own and wait around for it,
Right.
for that to happen. As professional realtors, I mean, we have access to all the latest information about communities and sales and interest rates, and obviously all of the listings that are available for individuals to be looking at. And we have a lot of referral people that we can send over there to do that type of work, painting, replacing carpeting, or things with mechanical things in the house, oil burners, electrical, things of that nature. So it's important to hire a professional.
Any other specific recommendations?
Yeah, and I actually put together something that we're going to show at the end of the show today too as well, with just some basic ideas, but neat and clean. And I cannot emphasize enough that clean is so important. If you don't have the money for the home inspection, well, that's one thing, but you should be able to have some, Clorox or whatever it is just to make that house clean. A lot of people make the mistake of putting candles on to try to mask the odors of pets or smoke. It just doesn't work. I would say smoke is a huge offender. Unfortunately, for people who do smoke or people who do have pets, they can't smell it. So one of the things that Bob had mentioned is bring somebody else into your house, somebody who's going to give you an honest opinion. I tend to do that. I'm also a staging professional as well. I'm a certified staging professional. So I go in there and I tell people the information that's hard to tell. I mean, I have been in places where people have said, geez, no one else mentioned that to me. They're coming to me, I am the professional. It's not easy to say your house does have some odors, but you really want to sell your house. So don't try to mask it with a candle. It only makes it worse, and then you get a headache on top of it. So it's not good.
Not good. Yeah, I can imagine, somebody that lives in a house where there is not a smoker or there's not a dog.
Yeah.
It walks in and immediately is what you pick up.
It's the first thing, and honestly, you should be just listening to all of the senses that you have. I know a lot of people like try the baking cookies, and I just feel like it's just a little cliche or something. It's just make the house clean, and that's what people want. And if things are outdated, I know some houses still have avocado. Well, I'd like avocado, and now we call it sage, so you can always get over that. We always have a way of making things dreamy, but I'd rather clean, outdated than dirty, white any day of the week. So really just get in there and really give it a good scrubbing.
I have to ask you, what is a certified staging professional?
Well, I am a certified staging professional. I took a class, which was a lot of fun. I actually took it down the Cape, and I am certified to help people stage their homes. So one of the things on my
And
list...
just so people watching may not know what staging is. Do you want to explain
Yeah,
that?
absolutely. Staging is one of the steps that we do to get your house prepared for the market. So you have to think in a different mindset. You're buying a home, you're selling a house. Okay, so this house now becomes the property basically of somebody else. I call them my house. I have many houses. You know, it's like, oh, my house on Elm Street. And what we do is we go in there and we declutter. We want to take pictures off the wall that of, you know, kids and the family, especially for people who have lived in a neighborhood for a long time, because then people come into the house at open house and they're more intrigued by the picture of Johnny on the counter than they are with the house. So we'll just go through the house. Sometimes I rearrange furniture. There was one time in Hanover, I literally moved a chair and a couch, and it opened up this room completely. Some little ideas like feng shui ideas that, you know, you walk into a room, you want to make sure that you have a nice clear space in front of you, just lots of things like that. Preparing the house, less is best. That's what the biggest hint I can give people.
So before we end up with your image that's going to come on the screen of recommendations,
Yeah.
Bob, why don't you give me a 30-second to a minute projection of where the real estate market's going to go in 2014?
Oh, I think it's going to be a great year. I think that the prices are going to stabilize. Interest rates, we all know where interest rates are going to go, most likely. I think that the federal government has pretty much settled down now. It's getting accustomed to changes in the administration and things that are going on there. So I think that businesses and individuals are going to start feeling more stable. And I think with that stability, I think it will help people to come out from renting apartments or feeling, well, gee whiz, I'm not sure if I'm going to have a job next year. And I think that's going to stimulate the market. Plus, we have fabulous listings throughout this area on the South Shore, you know, in Pembroke, Kingston, Plymouth, and Halifax, Marshfield. We have some wonderful properties that are just waiting for new buyers and new people to come in. So come on over and see us.
And Sharon?
Yeah, I think that we'll probably see a lack of inventory probably again for probably the next few years. I don't see that our prices are probably going to increase too much. I'm hoping that they are. I just feel as if people, you know, the right sizers right now, you know, the people who are in the 4-bedroom colonial and they want to downsize. I like to call it right size because I don't want to make it a downer. I think that you know, we need them to sort of move on so the rest of us can sort of move up. But, you know, you have to think when you're putting your house on the market, the value is based on the last 6 months. That's probably another show for you when an appraiser is looking at it. So they're going back the last 6 months. So your house, the value of your house is a moving target. It's always moving for the last 6 months. So keep that in mind when you are putting your house on the market.
So before we wrap this segment up, do you want to talk about your slogan that you developed or whatever you...
Oh, this
call
here?
it?
Yep.
Yes.
So this is just, we're going to put it on at the end.
Yes.
And I basically came up with, you wanted to talk about the spring market. So I just came up with spring.
Sure.
So basically in a nutshell, S is for sooner than you think, which we talked about.
Right.
P is for purge, which you wanted less is best. R is to remove. You just want to make sure that you take down all your holiday decorations. Take all the stuff out of the yard. You just want to get rid of all that and your family photos. I, it's inviting, make your home warm and cozy. Warm, physically warm, because a cold house is not inviting. Curb appeal, you want to make sure that you still want to make sure that everything looks nice and neat on the outside. Neat and clean, that's my Q-tip clean. You want to make sure that everything smells good, no smells of dogs and cats and cigarette smoke. And get a pre-home inspection. I think that that's probably the best idea and will save you probably a lot of money in the end.
Well, great. Thank you very much. This has been a great show.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
Great.
Traditional light bulbs actually generate 9 times more heat than light. Switch to energy-saving bulbs. Saving energy saves you money.
Welcome back to the Register's Report. My name is John Buckley. I'm the Register of Deeds of Plymouth County. I want to thank Sharon McNamara and Bob Gleason from Boston Connect Real Estate for their wonderful presentation on how to get your home ready for the spring market over these cold winter months. In this segment of the show, we always try to do something a little lighter in nature, something from our Plymouth County Register of Deeds notable land record collection. So I've brought a number of images that are going to be coming forward as I talk about them. And certainly one of the images that I wanted to talk about is the Parting Ways Cemetery. The Parting Ways Cemetery is in the town of Plymouth. And as we're in a holiday season, that we celebrate equality. The town of Plymouth, certainly back in the many early era, they established a New Guinea settlement. They basically granted a number of African American soldiers who had fought in the Revolutionary War a very large parcel on the Plymouth-Kingston line to set up a not only a cemetery, but a village, their own individual village, a settlement, which for many years was occupied. And to this day, you can still walk around that settlement and see the leftover foundations from those places. They were right on Route 80 as you make the turn into Kingston. So that's certainly quite a significant part of Plymouth County's history. Over the New Year, there was a very significant event in the town of Whitman. They actually had a New Year's Eve celebration where they dropped from a crane a very large copy of the Toll House cookie. The Toll House cookie was invented by Ruth Graves Wakefield at the Toll House Inn in the town of Whitman. And Nestle is celebrating a big anniversary this year, so they donated money to the town of Whitman. They passed out numerous packages of Nestle semi-sweet chocolate morsels that you use to make the chocolate chip cookie. Mrs. Wakefield was working, cooking at the Toll House. She was actually making a different type of cookie, and then she chopped up a Nestle's chocolate bar back in 1933. So she put that into her batter and started serving those cookies. That became very well known, and the Nestle's Corporation actually purchased her recipe, and on the back of every Nestle's package, you'll see Mrs. Wakefield's recipe. And that was celebrated in Whitman on New Year's Eve. I also, this week, was at a swearing-in ceremony for the mayor of Brockton at the beautiful Brockton City Hall. You'll see an image come across about the history of Brockton City Hall. It's one of the nicer city halls in America. It graced the cover of a national publication that showed a number of city halls. It was built as a memorial to the Civil War Grand Army of the Republic and as a city hall. It was built on the site of an old school in Brockton when Brockton was actually the parish of North Bridgewater and now is the municipal location for Plymouth County's largest community. It's listed on the National Register of Historic Places, and if you ever have a chance to go through that building, they have incredible paintings of Civil War scenes that people come from all over the country to view. So I want to thank PAC TV for letting me produce this show. A couple of my staff, Lorna Green Baker and Christine Richards, put this data together for me and the images. And I want to thank Dory Stoley, who worked with me today as floor manager, and Dave Antoine, who put this program together. And we'll continue this program. I think it's very important that we share what is happening in the Plymouth County real estate market with the general public. And as we work our way through 2014, we'll keep you up to date what's happening in the real estate market. So thank you all very much for watching, and we'll see you next month.